Hey guys, this is 97 Lego Maniac. Be sure to check out my other social media accounts and my Patreon. Links are down below. Daredevil Season 3 is my favorite Netflix season. After the disappointing Defender series, it seems like Marvel Netflix is dropping in quality like the CW. I didn't finish Jessica Jones Season 2 because it was boring. Luke Cage Season 2 is better than the first, but not great. And Iron Fist Season 2 is just terrible as well. Punisher was the only good show that came out after the crossover. That was until Daredevil Season 3 arrived, and my god, Daredevil is such a fantastic show. It's probably the best superhero show, period. And it really stinks that it got cancelled. And don't give me that Netflix cancelled Daredevil crap. It's cancelled because of Disney. Disney owns Marvel. Marvel owns Daredevil. Disney is bringing their own streaming service, so they forced Netflix to cancel it because Netflix is only the distributor, plus it gives them less competition. What makes me mad is that Disney has no plans for Daredevil in their dumb streaming service as well. It's so frustrating because Daredevil is the best thing in the MCU, and it's better written and directed than almost all the MCU films in general. Though I am glad that the show existed in the first place. We don't deserve well-crafted art such as this, and if you say that Daredevil is boring or not good, then you can just go continue watching your Flash, if you're stupid. Daredevil is like miles better than any other superhero show, and it makes the CW look like Disney Channel shows pretty much. Daredevil in his Vigilante suit is a simple figure overall, but does have some challenging parts to make. Starting from the top, his mask is fully sculpted from scratch, and it is actually removable. I made sure that it doesn't stick to the head as I'm sculpting it by applying a layer of chapstick around the head so that way it can peel off easily. I made sure that the mask has layers so it looks like it's wrapped around. I then used an X-Acto knife to add extra torn fabric detail on the bottom part of the black portion of the mask. His head only has a painted mouth and stubble and hair. His torso and legs are all fully painted with minimum detail. Now for his robes, around his arms and hands, they're actually made with thread, and I wrapped it around and glued it in place, and I made sure that the hands are still removable and have some articulation. I then used transparent red paint to paint the bloodstains. Now, Daredevil never wore his red suit in the third season, but I made it anyway because I wanted to make a new version of his red suit. Plus, I added an extra accessory for the third season. His cowl is made with an Ultron helmet with the sides sanded and the front as well, so that way I can sculpt on his nose. I then sculpted horns and the red platings on the sides and partially on the front and back of the helmet so it actually looks like there's some extra 3D depth on the helmet itself. It just gives more detail and it just makes it look cool. His head is also fully painted. I don't know why I bother painting the eyes, to be honest. It's kind of unnecessary because I sculpted in the eye sockets because I want the helmet to stand on its own when I remove it, just like in the show. The black part of the torso is sculpted as well, and I painted the rest. I wanted to give the suit a bit more color and have the details pop, so I used bright red for highlights on the suit rather than just going with black or gray. I think it works very well, it actually makes the figure so much better. Other parts I sculpted are his shoulder pads and his kneecaps. His billy club holster is actually made with E-tape and Lego antenna pieces. His billy clubs are actually my favorite part of this figure. I noticed not a lot of people actually have made a successful version of his billy club that's accurate. Now in the show, he can combine the two into like a bow staff and he can use it as a grappling hook. What I did pretty much was take all of those functions into one accessory. I used Lego's hose pieces for the gray areas and I cut a dark red rod in half and I drilled a hole into both parts. I then glued the gray pieces to the dark red bar and cut a piece of the Lego antenna and glued a thread. From there, I glued the thread into one part of the staff so that way it looks like the black peg can actually fit in the other half of the billy club to form the staff or the grappling hook. I believe I am the only one who actually succeeded in making this. I may be wrong, but though don't bother telling me who else made the billy clubs like this because I really don't care. All I really care about is the comments rather talking about the figures themselves, not on stuff that really isn't important to begin with. Now as for an extra accessory, I painted Poindexter's space. Again, I don't know why I painted the eyes, but I did it anyway. Though I had to paint the mouth a bit lower so that way it shows better with the mask. Bullseye is actually one of my favorite villains before he was even announced in the MCU. I just like how menacing this character is, and his skills are actually really cool, and it's something that I wish I have. The skill to throw anything into a projectile at point blank accuracy is just so cool to me. Daredevil Season 3 made me love Bullseye even more because they actually portrayed him more than just a psychopath and made me understand his psyche and why he is the way he is. That's Daredevil for you, again filled with great storytelling. Now this was actually the first figure I started and finished for this video. Starting with the head, his face is fully painted and it's very accurate to Wilson Bethel's likeness. I actually got tips from my friend Jackson when he was visiting Rochester, and my other friends thought the likeness was also on point. So to those watching thinking it does not look like him, you're wrong. For his hair, this is actually the only hairpiece I have available. Now his hair doesn't really look exactly like this, but it's definitely close enough. Now you may notice there is a crack between the hairpiece. The reason is because I wanted his hair and his baseball cap to be interchangeable. I glued the bottom part of the hairpiece I cut off onto the head, so when I remove the top section of the hair, I can actually replace it with his hat. Now it's not perfect because the thickness of the hat and hair are actually completely different, and there's a seemingly large crack in between. However, it's still creative though. Now he does have this baseball cap in one of this flashback episode, but I still painted it regardless because I think it looks cool and it actually fits well with the figure. His jacket is really simple. I sculpted the collar and I painted the rest of the details onto the torso and arms, even the FBI insignia. His belt and gun holster is actually made with E-tape and Procreate, and his gun is from Brick Arms. Kingpin is easily the best custom I've ever made. In fact, it's actually the best custom in the world. Not even Ross can top this. Okay, but seriously, here's the actual Kingpin figure, and it's not as good as the Chad Kingpin. His head is that Vincent D'Onofrio head from the Jurassic World set with the beard erased off. His torso is extended with a radiator piece, much like what I did for Savitar way back then. I then extended his arms and legs, and then I sculpted the rest, so he's a bit taller than an average minifigure. I sculpted his belly and I sculpted layers of clothing. I then add some thickness to his arms and legs as well to make it a bit proportional. Rest of the detail is painted and is self-explanatory. White paint is hard to work with, so I did the best I could when painting this figure. For extra detail, I outlined his clothes with dark gray so that way it wouldn't look too bland. That is all, and thank you guys for watching. That's probably going to be enough for my Marvel Netflix for me. However, if I were to make more in the future, definitely I would consider making Punisher and maybe update other Defender figures just so my Marvel collection is up to date. Also, I have some villains in my Marvel Cinematic Universe collection that I definitely want to make for the Marvel Netflix as well, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.